Hi, I'm Grabby-Cat, I do stuff, and it's that time of year once again, friends! Time to see which new creature will make its way into the Minecraft 1.20 update through a community vote. This year, we have once again been given 3 choices presented by Tiny Jens and Tiny Agnes. The Ancient Sniffer, Mischievous Rascal, and Statuesque Tuff Golem. Each of them has their own unique properties, so let's get into them and break them down one by one, starting with everyone's favorite plant dinosaur. Second favorite plant dinosaur, the Sniffer. This mob is described as being ancient, with its eggs being found within the ocean ruins, suggesting that the species is currently extinct. This means that we, as players, could single-handedly save their race, making for an interesting bit of gameplay and lore overlap. They emerge from their eggs fairly small, but as seen in the trailer, their full size is massive, which would help differentiate it from other mobs. Its main gimmick is its namesake. It will sniff the ground and dig up ancient seeds for the player to grow, which will produce new kinds of plants, meaning with this choice, we get a combination of flora and fauna for the price of one. With all that in mind, the mechanics of this creature still aren't fully known, so we can't be sure as to whether or not there will be enough new plants to justify the giant fuzzy turtles winning out over our other 2 contenders. So let's move on for now. The next mob on the docket is the Rascal, a sneaky little goblin that will stalk the player in their mines. They carry a small pack on their backs, which serves as their main mechanic. According to Tiny Agnes, this mob loves to play hide and seek with the player, and if you find it 3 times, it will reward you with an item to help you with mining. In the reveal video, this item was seen as an enchanted iron pick, making for an excellent early game boon when you're just starting out. This is where I take issue with the Rascal, however, as this reward is great for early game, but after just a few hours, an enchanted iron pick isn't much of a reward. It's fully possible that the Rascal would have many different kinds of loot that it can drop, which would help alleviate this problem to an extent, but that's just my speculation. We also don't know its spawning conditions, as it's seen in an abandoned mine shaft, which could mean their spawning is entirely structure-based, similar to Blazes and Wardens. And while interesting, this does limit its viability to being locked to certain structures. The final mob for this vote is the Tuff Golem, a dapper little fella who resembles a tiny iron golem. They have the ability to hold an item in their hands and walk around holding it, before shutting down, sitting down, and becoming a statue holding the item out in front of them. Based on their name, we can assume that they're made of tuff blocks, and if we add a block of wool into their creation, they will have a little cloak of whatever color of wool was used. This adds a nice bit of personality to these new mobs, in addition to them being golems, which is a fairly rare type of creature at the moment. The Tuff Golem intrigues me, but the description of its behavior is a little too vague for my liking. They apparently will get up and walk around at random, switching from statue to moving whenever they want. If their primary function was a nice way to display items, it would be unfortunate if your cute little decoration suddenly sprouted legs and walked away on its own. If there was a way to make them statues permanently, similar to the Copper Golem of last year, gone, but not forgotten, they would be more viable. It's also been stated that they will pick up items off the floor if they're empty-handed, but no word on whether or not they'd ever put them down. So there we have it, the 3 mobs for 2022's mob vote. Overall, this year has a good mix of unique creatures, though some seem more fleshed out than others. Personally, I feel that the Rascal is the weakest of the 3, with great early game utility, but a possibly frustrating hide-and-seek gimmick and diminished mid to late game returns, making them kind of useless later in the game. The Tuff Golem is great, and I'd love some more golems in the game, but it just wandering around as it pleases without a way to lock it into statue mode takes away from their item presentation. If I have a cute little statue holding my items, I want it to stay where I put it. I feel like the Sniffer is the best choice for this year, as it gives us a new enormous passive mob that also digs up new plants for the player to use. Even if they are just decorative and not functional, it seems we get the most content from the Sniffer compared to the other 2. Their ancient description would also blend in seamlessly with the Archeology system if that arrives in 1.20. If the Rascal had scaling loot or unique items, and if the Tuff Golem had the ability to be locked into a permanent dormant state, this would make it much more of a closer vote in my mind, but that's unfortunately just speculation, so the Sniffer is my choice for this year based on the facts that we've heard. But what do you think about these mobs? Which one are you going to be voting for this year to make it to the 1.20 update? Voting this year will be different, as it will be held in-game on a Mojang-hosted Bedrock server where players can make their choice the day before the big event. Voting begins on Friday, October the 14th, with the live stream coming the next day on Saturday, October 15th. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you there.